All right. Everybody, welcome back to the Primetime Sports Podcast. Got another episode. A lot of interesting things happening in sports.
Not many interesting things.
There's a lot of interesting things going on, Rye.
No.
All sports are going on.
Depends who you talk to. Not many interesting things going on.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting things.
All right, well,
all sports are going on right now.
Yeah, but let's just kick it off then. Let's just kick it off.
All right, let's do it then. Starting off, Giants Steelers. Another loss in the books. Frustrating, 26-18 was the final score. Daniel Jones loses his team another football game. One horrendous interception. A bad fumble. And yeah, I mean, Giants lose. Ryan, you turn into this game?
Yeah, I mean, I tuned into the end. My brother tuned into more than me. I was watching the Yankee game, but I tuned into a little bit of this game, and I did watch the end. I watched that pick, and it was embarrassing. It was embarrassing.
He had, if I'm not mistaken, he was on the Singletary, if I'm not mistaken, on that route.
And he had Singletary wide open from the jump.
He did.
He was looking for neighbors, which I get. I mean, when I get looking for neighbors, but he had Singletary open right from the jump, and he waited, got pressured, and overthrew him.
Yeah, he had Singletary, and also there's a picture from another angle. He had Theo Johnson wide open, and he catches that football 10 yards down. He can run for at least another 15. Listen, you had Singletary if you threw the ball correctly, but Theo Johnson was probably the better throw there. Could have got you at least 25 yards. But I mean, again, this is the problem with the Giants. Daniel Jones not good at football. It's continuous thing, and they're gonna start him next week. Hopefully his last start as a Giant. I've been praying every week.
It's not gonna be his last start.
It should be, but
it should. I mean, he should have had his last start years ago, but we're still here. So.
I know. Tyrone Tracy, turning into a star, led the NFL in rushing yards again. He's started 4 weeks so far, and half of the weeks he started 2 weeks. He's led the NFL in rushing yards. He had over 140 yards. I mean, he's breaking out. I mean, he's looked great. I mean, goes back to my point where you shouldn't pay running backs.
No.
I mean...
No, never.
Listen, Saquon's a great player, but you're going to pay Saquon $13 million when you can draft, like the Giants did, Tyrone Tracy in the 5th round, and he's producing very well. He's been very good, and he's making at least $1 million or under on his contract each year.
I mean, it's one of those things. You could draft a running back wherever you want, but, keep him on that rookie contract, and once that's it, you let him go. You let him go and let somebody else pay him because it's not worth it.
Yeah, some other stats we got. Slayton, 108 yards, great game. Neighbors, 71 yards. Okereke balled out, 14 tackles, 1 forced fumble recovery. Dex dominated the middle. That's nothing surprising, nothing new. Burns had a sack, led the team in pressures. Secondary was awful.
Yeah, I mean, Simmons and Banks doing cardio, per usual.
Who'd you say?
Banks and Simmons doing cardio.
I don't like how they play. I mean, they don't do it all the time. I don't like how they play Simmons at like corner, or
he's not a corner. He's
even safety sometimes. I like him as a linebacker. I mean, you can play him as safety sometimes, but like secondary was horrendous. Deonte Banks actually got benched after Najee Harris hurdled him, which I think that, in my opinion, I think that's bullshit. I don't think you should. So
that's not the reason he should have got benched, but he should be benched. So
why should he be benched?
He's not good. He's gotten cooked numerous
So you
weeks.
draft a guy first round last year. He showed some promise last year. Showed promise in some games this year, and all because he got hurt. Hurdled.
I said him being hurdled is not the reason he should be benched at all.
Or also, I think they said. I forgot if they said it might have been because he got hurdled, but I also saw something like there was a play, Pickens in the end zone. Wasn't a touchdown, didn't get, I think, his left or right foot down. I think they benched him because they didn't like his coverage. Banks was the one that actually pushed him out of bounds, so he didn't get the touchdown, but still, they're like, oh, you can get better coverage on that. But it just goes back to my point. That's bullshit. Like, he's shown flashes. You're going to bench him in a game like this, and you're starting Daniel Jones.
Yeah, I mean,
He's in year 6. He's in year 6. You have no problem starting Daniel Jones as he continuously ruins this franchise, ruins his team week after week.
Yeah.
And you're going to start him. You're in his 6th year as he continuously messes up. But Banks has a bad play. Year 2, you're going to bench him after he's had some good games this year.
Yeah, I know.
It's terrible. This just goes back to the problem with the coaching staff. Listen, I like the coaching, but they make some boneheaded decisions. It's terrible. Russell Wilson, he balled out. I mean, Russ still got it. Russ has still got it.
Not consistently, but he still got it. He still got flashes.
I mean, listen, yeah, obviously not as consistent as he was, but still, last week against the Jets, great game. This week against the Giants, another great game. Some beautiful deep balls.
Yeah,
it was
for sure.
Perfect game. And honestly, I look at this Pittsburgh Steelers team, and I mean, listen, it was 26-18, but I think if they, at this trade deadline, add another offensive lineman, maybe another wide receiver, I think they will be a real threat in the playoffs. This is a good Pittsburgh Steelers team.
Yeah, I could agree.
All right, and moving on. Jets versus Patriots. Jets fall to 2-6. Unbelievable. I mean, I didn't even see this coming. I doubt
No,
you even saw this coming.
I didn't think they were going to be as bad as the Giants.
What'd you say?
I didn't think they were going to be as bad as the Giants, but
I mean, that happens when you overhype your talent.
they're the same.
What do you mean the same?
They're same record.
Yeah, I mean they're the same record, but so 25-22 was the final score. Rodgers, pretty good game, over 200 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. Brees, very efficient. I think he had like 80 yards, 5 yards per carry, pretty good. Jets, though, struggling to get Devonta Adams involved again. He had, I think, 50 yards. I mean, that's solid, but like even last week, got to get him more involved. I mean, Devonta Adams is still, in my opinion, a top 10 receiver in football. And I think if you have him and Garrett Wilson with Rodgers at quarterback, I mean, you gotta utilize that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what's going on in New York. It's just this team is just not putting it together.
Reddick is back. He barely played. I think he had like 8 snaps. Not much of an impact. But I guess they're trying to ease him back in, or I don't know.
It's tough to come back in after missing that much time.
Yeah, I mean, it's
can't do it.
Small workload. I mean, I expect for them to gradually increase it each week, but yeah, not much from him. But just overall, I mean, what an underperformance from the Jets defense. I mean, you allowed 25 points with mostly Jacoby Brissett in the game.
Yeah.
Again, this is not a very good Patriots team nor offense. I mean, when Drake May's not in, you got Jacoby Brissett. The receiving core isn't that talented. Your tight ends are okay. Offensive line is very. Might even be below average.
Yeah, the O-line's below average. I like the receiving core. They have a drop problem for sure. I mean, they definitely dropped a lot of passes from what I saw, but they're good. I mean, Demario Douglas just doesn't get utilized. I think he's very good. I think Tyquan Thornton is good, but they just got to work on those drops. I mean, there was too many drops from Drake. Even when Drake May was in for his 6 passes, I mean, they just dropped way too many passes.
I mean, yeah, they dropped many passes, but I mean, they have a very young receiving core.
It's a young team.
It's
a young team in a rebuild.
Yeah, they don't have. I think their receiving core is okay, but they don't really have that guy.
They have no superstar. No, but I think it's 3 good receivers. That a good wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3. If they were to just add that one piece, I think the receiving core would be nice.
Yes, they definitely need a 1A. They need a 1 option. I mean, yeah, but Brissett, he did what he had to do. Amazing game-winning drive. He executed that perfectly. Probably the game-winning play there was to their wide receiver Bout from LSU. Brissett stood in the pocket. I think he almost got sacked. He was really close to it. Stood in the pocket, stood strong, made the pass, and again, that's just a game. That's just a game-winning play. I mean, you basically won the game off that play.
Yeah.
Mondre Stevenson got in the end zone, 2-point
Twice.
conversion. Yep. of course, against us in fantasy.
Twice. He had 50 rushing yards on 20 carries, so not efficient at all.
Not
but
efficient.
Still punched in 2.
Yeah, still. Of course, still got in 2. But yeah, again, I mean, from at this point, Jets, they're 2-6. I think I looked at the odds a few days ago. There's like a 1% chance. It's very low for a 2-6 team to come around, turn it around, and make the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of teams right now in the NFL that are, I mean, almost out of playoff contention to the point where like we might know the playoffs.
It's
10,
crazy.
11.
There's a lot of underperforming teams this season. I mean, Jets right now, they have the 3rd or 4th pick in the draft, but Giants are they're 2-6, and I think they're at the 9th or 10th pick in the draft. It's just, again, a lot of underperforming teams. I honestly didn't see it coming. It's like if you're going to be a team with a bad record, like I'm just guessing. Let's say Giants go 4-13, 5-12, like that. They might end up with like the 7th or 8th pick, which is just crazy to think.
Yeah, I mean, we have 13 teams right now with 3-4 or worse.
That's
about
really
half the
crazy.
league.
And I mean, listen, some of these teams that are down there, they'll rack up wins. I guarantee you. Jets, I don't know if they'll make the playoffs. I think they'll still get to about seven wins. I feel like I think they'll get like 7 wins. So they'll definitely be better. Bengals. I mean, listen, Bengals, they've definitely underperformed. I still think they're a good team too.
I mean, they're 3-5 with a -8, which is crazy, meaning they don't lose by much.
Oh yeah, I mean a lot of their games, Chiefs versus the Ravens, so they were very good.
I think this week was their first non-single, non-one possession touchdown loss.
Crazy. It's crazy. I mean, like I said, a lot of these teams will definitely rack up some more wins. I mean, we got 9 weeks left in the season, so there's that. But yeah, I think if you're the Jets, you gotta you could make a trade, but at this point, it's kind of just like
You made the trade.
That's true. You did trade for Devontae Adams. I'm saying.
So there's not much left to do.
Yeah, I mean there really isn't much left. I mean you could make a trade, could try to salvage a season. Very unlikely to do so. Honestly, it's just at the point where you just gotta ride the season out and go into the off season and see what you can fix and just. I think Rodgers still has 1 year left. So I think we'll have a retirement tour next year, play 1 more year, and I think this will be Jets do it all or nothing type year next year. So Moose got the Cowboys game.
Yeah. A lot of positives, a lot of negatives. Defense, for the most part, I thought played pretty well. I think, I know the Niners are banged up, but other than like, they had one drive where Isaac Guerrero rushed, like 3 straight rushes for 10-plus yards, which inflated his carries. But other than that, I mean, they kind of held down the run game. Receiving-wise, I mean, 260 yards for Purdy, but only 1 touchdown. What really came down to was just, Dak threw 2 picks. And, they were bad picks. I mean, one he threw into double coverage for Kevontae Turbin, who is not a one-on-one guy nor a double coverage guy.
I saw one of them. I don't know if it was the Turpin one, but it was like Dak ran to the sideline, or close to the sideline, and he threw it, but he underthrew it.
So the Kevontae Turbin one was just bad all around. I mean, he should have never thrown that. He got hit as he threw. It was a whole thing. That was the right play. He just underthrew him a bit. If he was able to throw it a little higher, he could have got that to CD, but unfortunately that underthrow hurt him. But other than that, I mean, only 13 incompletions, 25 of 38, 243. If, his turnovers have been killing him this year, him and CD. I mean, CD had a great game, but a lot of that came in the fourth quarter. So for the first 3 quarters, they weren't on the same page. And like the rest of the season, they haven't been on the same page. And no one else really got involved. So,
I mean,
that's what it came down to.
I mean, it's the problem. Looking at Dak's stats this season, he's 9th in passing yards, so good. 10 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. QBR is out of 23. 23rd in the league. I mean, this was definitely the concern. I mean, Dak, we know Dak, he's a great quarterback, but this season he's underperforming and he's being paid. He's the highest paid quarterback in NFL history. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, it's it's a catch-22 because when you look at his stats, obviously they're not eye-popping at all, and they're not to Dak standard. But when you look at the team as a whole, like at some point you can't just keep blaming Dak. I mean, the whole defense is hurt.
no, it's
Bland is out, Parsons is out, Lawrence is out, Nealon's out. I mean, the whole defense is hurt. The offense, Cooks has been out. You have no run game. You have Tyler Gutton benched. So I mean,
Oh, he got benched.
yeah, you got benched like after that Lions game or before that Lions game. So
I mean, I guess the Cowboys are trying to win, but like again,
like at some point, as much as it's like it's on Dak, it's not. I mean, he threw two picks, no touchdowns in Detroit, but that was just atrocious. I mean, he got I don't know what it was, but no time in the pocket. I mean, every play the O-line just got beat. He got sacked 4 times and a 51% completion percentage, but when you look at his other games, I mean, 66% completion in San Fran, 69 Pittsburgh, 81 New York, 69 New Orleans. He's having a pretty good season if he could limit those picks. Obviously, double-digit picks in 3 straight games is not what you like to see. But yeah, I think the story is a bigger picture.
I honestly think, I don't know if this is really a hot take. I don't think it is. I think remove quarterback from the situation. I think the Giants and Cowboys roster are fairly similar. By that, I mean you have great pieces on your team, but one, you lack depth, and two, some of just your regular players, non-stars I'm talking about, are underperforming. Like you don't even you got your stars do your thing, but like even your average guys aren't even performing well.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. I think the difference is you have Dak Prescott under center.
I don't think it's a hot take. I think the Cowboys' injuries are hurting them. I wouldn't necessarily say that some like the star players. I mean, there's definitely some star players that are not performing, but you have you have Deron Bland out, and then you have Carson out, so you have your cornerbacks 2 and 3 hurt. I don't think Jordan Lewis is playing. I think he actually might be hurt. So that's your slot corner hurt. So you're already down 3 corners. So I mean, when you're on your 5th string corner, you can't expect him to start guarding some of these top guys in the league. As for linebackers, I mean, Overshawn's still playing great. And then again, D-line. I mean, you have your top 3 D linemen out. You have Parsons, D-Law, Nealon, who you just drafted in the 2nd round. Those are your top 3. They're all hurt.
What position was Nealon?
D-end. So you can't expect, again, a 4th-string defensive lineman to come in against a top tackle and dominate. So, unfortunately, the situation is you have a lot of 3rd, 4th stringers playing against guys that are good, and it's showing. It's the result. They get beat.
Yeah, I mean, right now your defense is D-line is Carl Lawson, Mozzie Smith, who I don't know how he's still starting. I mean, according to PFF, he is the worst ranked D tackle in football. That's horrendous. Oza,
who's good?
I can't even say his last name. Normally he's good. And then you have this other guy, Chauncey Golston.
Yeah, Chauncey Golston. Again, he's not good, but he's good.
He's been solid.
He's good enough, especially when you have other guys with him. He can put up his own, but he can't be the star.
Yeah,
and unfortunately, he's put in that spot right now. And
I mean, yeah, listen, injuries are definitely derailing you guys. I mean, your defense is really. I mean, I wasn't big on Deron Bland, but I still think he's a good cornerback. Parsons, he's just a game wrecker. You're missing him. And then I look at your offensive line. It's not as great as it was.
Well, no, I mean,
past years.
You're never going to have that old line of Tyron Smith, Zach Martin, and Travis Frederick ever again. I mean, that was just the old line of the century.
Yeah.
So it's tough. It's going to be very, very hard to replicate that. But
yeah, so you got your O-line right now, Terrence Steele. He's one of the worst pass blocking offensive tackles. Good run blocker. Zach Martin, he's been playing football. Beppe, Tyler Smith has been very good.
Yeah, I mean,
then it says Tyler Guyton.
Yeah, I really don't think, other than that game against the Lions, that the O-line has been that much of a problem. Mm-hmm. I don't. I mean, obviously the run game hasn't been there, and that's a credit to the O-line. the O-line hasn't been holding up in the run game. But, I mean, I can't sit here and say, like, the O-line, again, other than Detroit, because that was just a massacre. They just got beat so quick. But none of these games, they really just got dominated on the O-line. It was more of, our defense just didn't hold up.
They really do this offseason need to get no tackle. I mean, listen, Guyton, I know you're trying to win. I want to bench him. I mean, no tackle is only going to get better with reps. So
I think you need to go get one. I think you could leave Tyler Smith. I think the O-line's fine the way it is, and then you just got to replace Terrence Steele.
Definitely. I mean,
think that's
you just
really
drafted Guyton first round. I mean, Tyler Smith, he's
but
good.
I'm saying, like, even if you didn't play Guyton, like, you leave Tyler Smith at left tackle. I'm not 100% who's at left guard right now, but you keep BB at center. You have
Left guard
Travis
is Tyler Smith.
Well, no.
Unless they bench Guyton, they move Smith out to left tackle.
Smith has been playing left tackle.
Yeah. I was saying before, but yeah, right now he's playing left tackle.
That's why, like, I'm not 100% sure who's at left guard, but I think honestly, just replace that right tackle. You could leave Tyler Smith at left tackle. I think the O-line's fine again, barring that one Lions game, and just replace Terrence Steele.
Yeah, he's basically. I mean, Guyton's not playing good, but he's basically a guy you definitely want to get another one in the offseason. Definitely need to get a running back too. Definitely need a running back. I mean, Zeke is cooked.
He is, but he actually had a good game in
what do you have?
in San Fran. I mean, he only had 34 yards on 10 carries, but if you watch, like, he was actually hitting holes, like, he was playing with some speed. But they just don't run the ball. That's the problem.
They don't really run the ball, and I mean, that's what's also weighing down this Cowboys team. That's why I look at this Cowboys team in the past years, and you could tell what's weighing them down is not having a run game. Because again, when they had Zeke, or even when they had Pollard, I know he wasn't great when he started that year, but still, you have options. I mean, right now you got the passing game, but then you don't have a run game.
I'll tell you what's hurting more than the run game is Dak's not using his legs anymore. And when you look his rookie year, when they went 13-3, they would run read options. He would sit in the pocket, look, take off, just like Lamar does, just like Anthony Richardson has been doing. And that's why they're winning teams. Maybe not as much as the Colts because, that whole, Richardson hasn't played every week and now he's benched. But, like Lamar, like you see these quarterbacks that use their legs, and those are the teams that always go somewhere. Mahomes, he gets out of the pocket, uses his legs. Like Josh Allen, so you see these teams that the quarterback uses their legs, and when Dak did, they were unbeatable virtually. And now, like, he doesn't use his legs. He sits in the pocket, he takes the sack, and it's hurting them.
I completely agree with you. You're missing that option. It's like I said, you got the receiving core,
and it's not missing because we've seen Dak do it.
But I'm saying it's missing this season.
It's
obviously
missing,
he's had it
from the arsenal.
He hasn't utilized, and that's the problem. Got a receiving core, don't have a run game, so your run game's gone, and Dak is just a pocket passer. He's in the pocket now. So those teams like the Bills, the Ravens, even Mahomes moves.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying.
You're missing threats. So that's the problem with this. That's honestly the problem with the Cowboys. Injuries, some guys underperforming, and no run game.
And I forgot Sam Williams is hurt. He hasn't played since last year, so that's somebody else who would be in there. So you're really missing your top 4 D linemen, DNs. Which, I mean, what team's gonna win when your top 4 DNs are out? You get no pressure.
Yeah,
no pressure at all.
Yeah, Who the Cowboys got this week?
I think Atlanta. I think they got Atlanta.
I saw Parsons still isn't practicing. I mean, that should be.
I mean, DeRon Bland. I remember.
I feel like I saw 2 weeks ago that he was.
Like, it was like
about to come back.
Not so. Let me see. So let me go to the Cowboys. It was the week, 2 weeks before the bye week. So San Fran, they had the bye week. Detroit, I think Pittsburgh. He was supposed to play in Pittsburgh.
Yeah. And
they were like, we're gonna bench him. We're gonna keep him out for precautionary issues. It's been 3 weeks since then, and he's still not playing. So I don't know.
Just checked, he's back. They just activated him today, so he'll be available for the Falcons game. So
there you go.
I mean, that's definitely a piece good to have against a good Falcons receiving core.
Yeah, I mean, you still have no D line, which
again, and that's the problem. I mean, Trayvon Diggs is ranked 94th at a 110 in cornerbacks. But again, that's the problem. When you don't have a D-line generating pressure, too much is on the on the cornerbacks.
When you only have one good corner, it's just, I mean, one good corner, no D-line is a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, like I said, a lot is on that one corner. I mean, D-line's not getting pressure.
The whole defense is really on him right now, and that's why he's so low because,
yeah.
I mean, at what point, he's just, you can't stop everybody.
I mean, listen, if you're, like I said, if you're not generating pressure and the quarterback is all the time in the pocket, listen, it's hard to be a cornerback already, but you got to go chasing down receivers for a long time. It's going to be hard. So listen, Cowboys just got to get healthy. They got a game against the Falcons this week. Deron Bland back, so should be an interesting one. But
for sure.
Next, we got the Colts-Texans. This is a game I wanted to talk about. Final score was 23-20, if I'm not mistaken, 23-20. Anthony Richardson, rough game. He was 10 for 32. Very low completion percentage. 175 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Jonathan Taylor, Josh Downs balled. Started mixing at good games. Will Anderson Jr. and Hunter, 9 combined tackles, 3 sacks. Also, very good game off the edge. And the main problem with all this is Anthony Richardson benched, which I find that unbelievable. I don't know why you bench him. I
think he tapped out. I think that's what I've been seeing is he took himself out of the game.
But supposedly that wasn't the reason. Supposedly they benched him because of his play. And this isn't like a 1-week thing. Supposedly that they're riding with Flacco for the next few games. Here's the problem. Richardson played last year. I'd say he played good. Got injured out for the year. Comes back this year. Hasn't been a great start. Not the start he wanted. But he's only played 10 games in his career. He's played 10 games in his career, and you drafted this guy with a top 5 pick in the draft. And after 10 games, you're giving up on him? And especially, my problem with this is, coming out of college, he was a project. Everyone knew it across the board. Everyone said this. He's a project. He had a cannon for an arm. Obviously, in college, a lot of quarterbacks run, but you could tell he was a good running quarterback. He had the physicals. He had the height. He had the arm. He had everything. But again, everyone knew if you draft this quarterback, you got to stick by him, help develop him. And after 10 games, you're saying, basically, we're done with you. If you're benching him not only for 1 week, but a few weeks after 10 games, that's going to ruin it. That's going to ruin his confidence.
Is it? I mean, look at guys like Bryce Young. He's getting the bench. Like, he's going to start probably playing next year or maybe even towards the end of this year.
He is playing right now. But again, my problem is, he's playing again, but again, his confidence is shot.
Is it though? Because I've seen he's been loving it. He's learning. He's learning more on the sideline.
I mean, I guess. I mean, again, Bryce Young is a true professional. I mean, he's not going to go out there and complain. So listen, he's on the bench. He's going to do what he has to do. He's going to learn. But
right, that's the whole thing about developing a quarterback nowadays is benching him, drafting a quarterback even first, benching him, letting him figure it out. Watching veterans play and then eventually getting a shot.
But my thing is, I think Bryce Young should be starting because the Panthers are so bad. So might as well, one, see if he could turn around, see if he has something.
Yeah, but they did that last year and it did not work.
Or, I mean, again, that's what playing him?
They played him and the team, not him. I mean, yes, him, but the team was so bad. So why you might as well, especially while the team is bad, don't hurt him by letting him just take a million hits.
I'm sorry for Bryce Young's case. It's too late. He's already hurt. They ruined that 1 year, or even some games this year. They ruined him, and I think that's also my argument with a lot of people have Panthers taking a quarterback in this draft. I don't think they should.
No.
Why are you going to put a quarterback in that same situation? Maybe you'll play better than Bryce Young.
Well, now they have more weapons than Bryce Young did last year.
What happened?
They have better. Well, now that DeAndre Johnson's gone, I'm not too sure, but they're probably still a little bit better than they were last year when he came in.
A little bit, but again, they're still really. It's crazy because this offseason, they improved, but they're still a very bad football team.
Well, now they got rid of Deontay Johnson.
Even with Deontay Johnson around, they're a really bad football team, and I think you ruined him right off that. I think if you're a Panthers, you can't draft a quarterback again.
No.
I think you need to wait a year. Maybe with your first pick, I don't even know. Go get someone like Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter is very good. Will Johnson, he's also very good. Maybe bring in a tackle, bolster the offensive line, draft a receiver. There's so many things you can do, but I think you got to give it a year and draft this year, bring in guys from free agency. Then the next year, you could start worrying about quarterbacks. And I think, honestly, it would be in their best interest. I mean, you got QB1 next draft, Arch Manning, coming in. So there's that for the Panthers, but I don't agree with the Anthony Richardson thing. I think that's bad coaching. I don't, especially because you're not in a position right now where you're going to make the playoffs. You're probably not going to make the playoffs. I think you just stick it out with him and see what he's got. Let him improve. I mean, again, you gave a project quarterback 10 games and you're calling it quits on him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, we'll see what happens here, see how Flacco does. And maybe they will go back to him, But had some trades in the NFL yesterday. Had 2 of them, actually. Trade deadline's approaching, less than a week away. Things should keep picking up. But right now, yesterday we had Deontay Johnson to the Ravens for a swap of a 5th and 6th. And we got Cam Robinson to the Vikings. It was Cam in a 7th for a 5th. That becomes a 4th, but I'm pretty sure playing time. So, Cam Robinson to the Vikings. We'll start there. I think it was a good trade for them. They lost Christian Darrisaw for the year. They definitely needed help. I don't think they want to, lose the season. So,
yeah,
got another serviceable left tackle. So I like that trade for him. Didn't trade much. And Deontay Johnson to the Ravens. I think that was a good move. I think Ravens are a good football team. And, I mean, you just got another weapon.
It only helps. I mean, adding as many weapons as you cannot hurt.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And, I mean, they really didn't even trade much. I thought this trade was – I like Deontay Johnson. I thought this trade was a fleece. I mean, swap up a 5th and a 6th in the trade. That's really good. I mean, you got a receiving core now of Zay Flowers, Deontay Johnson, and Rashad Bateman. That's pretty solid.
And Derrick Henry at the line.
I mean, yeah, that's the thing. You gotta honestly, let me rephrase. They have the best rushing attack in the sport right now, and you have a receiving core who is pretty solid, and you have a great tight end. So I mean, Ravens balling. It's gonna be exciting to see how he does. But yeah, let's switch gears a little bit. Let's hop over to basketball, NBA started up last week. I think we're about 4 or 5 games in.
To this fraudulent sport.
It's not fraudulent.
The only sport where the college is better than the professionals.
What's wrong with this NBA hate gimmick?
I think that I think there's a lot of people that would stand by that statement.
I don't know about that.
No,
there's definitely a decent people.
It's a lot.
Decent amount, but
it's a lot.
Not everyone.
Not everyone. I didn't say everyone.
Yeah, but still,
it's not as. It's not. Vouch. I didn't say everyone.
Nope, it's not as big of a group as you think it is.
It's a pretty big group.
I don't think so. But listen, let's get things going. Knicks vs. Pacers. Blowout win for the Knicks. As a Knicks fan, that felt good. Blowing out the Pacers after last year. Final score was 123-98. All 5 starters in double digits. 4 to 5 starters had 20 or more points. Mikal bounced back game. Jumper looked very clean. He had a great game. Halliburton did not score.
No, did not.
That was terrible. And Tracy Walker for the Pacers. I actually like him a lot. I think he's really good. I think they need to give him more minutes.
Yeah, he's good. He's young talent.
I mean, they were developing him. They weren't giving any minutes, but they were developing him for the past few years, and I think they should just keep giving him minutes. I think he's a very good player. Then after that Pacers game on Friday, you got Knicks versus Cavs. Happened the other night. Final score was 110-104. Another all-around great Bridges game. His mid-ranges, he's been on fire from mid-range. OG balling on the defensive end. Garland went nuclear. Mitchell had a solid game. My big issue so far with the Knicks after watching them play is not Cat, but Cat's averaging 9 shots in 3 games. And you need to get him more involved. I said this after last week's pod. I said you got to get him involved. It's a big problem. I mean, you traded a lot for him. He's your second best player, one of the best centers in the league. He's a great offensive big man. If he's going to get 9 shots a game, that's like role player stuff. I mean, I want to see him get at least 15 shots a game.
There's just no room for 15 shots. I mean, you have Brunson and Bridges. Unfortunately, like for Cat to get 15 shots, one of them is going to have to start taking less shots.
Or, I mean, could be that Brunson, Bridges, and Cat take shots. I mean, you
how many shots do you think are taking a game? Like at some point, like not everybody could average over 15 shots a game.
Yeah, but here's the thing: as the point guard, Brunson, as a coach, you need to make it a thing where, listen, obviously I'm fine with Bridges getting the ball, but like, Cat is a way better player than Bridges. You need to get him the ball. Like, my worry is, I think Tibbs is a great head coach. Don't get me wrong, great head coach. But I don't know if this system, because he's a defense guy, he's a gritty coach. I don't know
This is not a defense team.
Huh?
This is not a defense team.
Well, it's still a defense team. They're actually a pretty good defensive team. I mean, a little bit worse than last year, but they're still a good defensive team. My problem is I don't think Tibbs is a good offensive coach, so I don't know how they will make this work. I mean, when you got a lineup of Brunson, Cat, OG, McHale as a head coach, you need to also be good offensively to make things work. And my worry is I don't know if it will work. Again, this is honestly one of those things where it's like, give them time, wait and see, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think this is honestly just one of those things where it could be too much star power. I know, like, you would think, like, how's that a thing? But in basketball, you can't have too much star power. We've seen it. I mean, you need, like, 2 guys that are, like, stars, and then you need some, like, good role players to complement. Like, which is a Josh Hart, which helps. But, if your 1-2 is Brunson and Cat, you can't have Bridges and OG. It's just, it's too much. It's too many people with a lot of shot attempts. And then eventually, like you're saying with Cat, he gets diluted in the shot attempts.
I mean,
so if you raise Cat, say McHale goes down, you dilute McHale, and then it's like, all right, well now McHale needs more shots, and it's like, eventually it's just gonna become a merry-go-round.
My thing is, you need to run sets for him. You need to get him in the post. Like, again, obviously you don't want to take away shots from OG or McHale, but again, Cat is your second best player. You got to get him the basketball. So, like I said, maybe run pick and pops, pick and rolls with Brunson. I think you need to get Cat going. Like, they can definitely do a better job. And I think,
yeah, for sure.
I think a guy like OG, I think he's perfectly fine. I think he's a great role player, but I'm saying I think he's fine in that role where if he takes 7 or 8 shots, I don't think he really cares about that. I think, like I said, got to get Cat the ball. Only 3 games in, but again, they got a game coming up tonight versus Miami Heat. Got to get him the ball. I mean, it's going to be a big matchup with Bam Adebayo, but want to see him score. Need to get more shots because I feel like that's the only way Knicks are really going to succeed, Brunson and Cat. Going into some other things in the NBA right now. Start with this because our good buddy Schwartz wanted me to talk about him on the podcast. But Cam Thomas, he's on fire. He's averaging, if I'm not mistaken, 30 or 32 points. He's going crazy. I think my thing with Cam Thomas is that he's a good player, but he's not like an all-star. Do you agree with that statement?
I really don't know. I don't watch enough of the Nets.
I don't watch much of the Nets either, but when I do watch him play, I view him as like a Malik Monk type. I think Cam Thomas is a good player, but I think on a championship team, if he was with the Nets or just another team, I think he would be in that 6-man off the bench, microwavable score type guy.
Maybe he would be.
I don't think he could start on a championship team. I don't think he can be one of your top 3 options on a championship team. Like I said, good player, great scorer, but he's putting up 30 points on a losing team who's going to be top 5, top 3 in the lottery this year. So, we know what he is. He's a scorer. That's what he's going to be. So, like, putting up these numbers is not surprising. I don't think he'll be an all-star or anything. I think just he's a scorer. That's basically it. AD domination again. I think he's the early leader for the MVP. Moose, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, we're 4 or 5 games in, so there's a lot of people in the early lead. I think only time will tell with that case. I think there's a lot of guys that are balling right now. So, yeah, I mean, 4 games in, yeah, he's balling. So
he's going crazy. I mean, Lakers are 3-1 start, very good. JJ Redick's coaching, amazing.
Yeah, winless on the road.
On the road, but how many road games? Was that 1?
Yeah, they're all 1 on the road.
Okay, so it's such a small 1-game sample size.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, it's a small sample size.
Yeah, small sample size, but I'm still saying over the past 4 games, I think JJ Redick has done a pretty good job. Definitely better than Darvin Ham, but
I don't know. I heard a lot of good things about Darvin Ham.
I have not heard many good things about Darvin Ham.
One of my friends, Joe, he talked a lot of good things about Darvin Ham.
I said a lot of bad things about Darvin Ham. I think he ruined LeBron AD. But next, Bucks 1-3 start, not looking very good. This is the problem. I said it when it first happened. I didn't like that Dame trade. I thought Drew Holiday was the better fit for the Bucks. I think the Bucks were that defense, gritty team. That Middleton as a scorer, Giannis as a scorer. Again, I don't know. What do you think about the Dame trade? Because again, this is year 2 now, and they're not off to a great start. They're 1-3.
Yeah, I mean, I think Drew Holiday is a better fit in Milwaukee. But I also think that it's just when you look at the team right now, it's not a good team. I mean, your starting lineup is Gary Trent Jr., Brook Lopez, and Taurean Prince. Like at some point, like that's just not going to win games.
Well, again, they're missing Middleton, but I still think the guys they have in their starting lineup are solid. Like again, Gary Trent Jr.
I mean, yeah,
Taurean Prince, Brook Lopez. These are guys you can win with. These are rotation players.
I think Gary Trent is a great role player. He's like just a flamethrower shooter.
I like Prince. Prince is also a scorer. Not really a scorer.
He's more
of a
defensive end.
He's more of a spot up guy, 6'7", and I mean Brook Lopez. Obviously, he's old, but like.
I don't know if he cuts
protector.
anymore.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely not what he used to be. I mean, he's still a good rim protector, 3-point shooter, but I think that Dame trade wasn't a good fit for the Bucks in general, and also we won't hear about it now. Maybe in a year or 2 when Dame leaves or gets traded, but I don't think Dame and Giannis have a good relationship. Or maybe they're just not close. I don't know. What happened?
They're not vibing.
That's also the problem. I mean, you can, like, if you put 2 other superstars on this team, you can win with it, but you also need to be on the same page as your other guy.
Yeah, I mean, you need to be on the same page in any sport.
I mean, yeah, and when your 2 top guys who you rely on to win aren't on the same page, it's not going to be good. And I'm not putting the blame on strictly just Giannis and Dame because their coaching staff is terrible. They have Doc Rivers at head coach. Guess who's the assistant?
I don't know.
Darvin Ham. That might be the worst coaching staff.
Yeah. I mean, I heard a lot of good things about Darvin Ham.
I heard a lot of bad things, but Doc Rivers, bad coach. Never liked it. I didn't like that they fired Adrian Griffin mid-season and gave Doc Rivers a job because I don't think Doc Rivers is a good coach, or even in the playoffs, I don't think he's a good coach. And Darvin Ham, even as an assistant, I don't think you want him on your staff.
Should have kept Budenholzer, but
honestly, they should have. I mean, that's the thing in the NBA, not even just NBA, in a lot of sports. they put the blame on the coach. I feel like they always blame the coach first. Coach is
Yeah.
always to blame first.
Yeah, I mean, just to tie this back in, because like with the Cowboys, like I don't think Mike McCarthy is the greatest play caller, but I mean, he's getting a lot of blame for a hurt team with the superstars not playing well. So it's like at some point in any sport, you got to stop looking to the coach and you got to start looking at players and be like, you're not holding your end of the bargain. But in this day and age, it's like you're not going to fire a player, you're not going to cut a player. You're gonna be like, all right, well, we'll just go replace the coach.
Yeah, coach first, and then after whatever happens, maybe you get rid of a player. But again, I think the Bucks were looking like years ago when they won that championship. They were looking like an elite team though for years to come. And I mean, fired Budenholzer, traded Drew, and then from there it's not looking good. And I honestly think maybe after this year, we will see Giannis get traded. Might sound crazy. I think we'll see Giannis get traded. And
He's getting old.
Is he getting? I think he's like 30, right?
He's getting old.
He's still got like few.
Not for real life, guys. 30.
He's 29 right now. But he's 29 right now.
Yeah, but I mean, how many people are consistently playing great past 30?
In today's day and age, it's not even that crazy. I don't think it's that crazy. I mean, he's 29. I mean, obviously he's not young anymore, but he's not old either. He's
It's on the older side.
Yeah.
It's on the older side.
Yeah. I mean, he's gonna turn 30 this year, but I think we see a Giannis trade request, and I think if you're gonna trade Giannis, you might as well trade Dame too. I mean, if anything, maybe you start with Dame and then trade Giannis.
Yeah, I mean, Dame's also up there. I mean, Dame's even older, so.
Yeah, Dame is. I think he's like 30. He's gonna be 35 this upcoming year.
Yeah, I mean,
how many years does he have left on his contract? Let's check this out. Dame has. He has one more year after this, and then he has a player option. I think no matter if he gets traded or not, I think he's just gonna come back to Portland and just end his career there.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's got a good situation brewing in Portland. We talked about it last week, but I think him going back would be tremendous. I think he goes back, they get a center.
I think they got us. I like Klingon. Like I said, I like Klingon.
I don't hate him, but I don't love him.
You gotta wait it out. I mean, rookie year, few games in, but I think what Dane would be hopeful to happen is school turns out well. They have a core group of guys, and they're gonna be missing that one piece. I don't think if Dame comes back at his age, I don't think he'd start. I think he'd be their sixth man off the bench guard.
I think he'd start. I think
I don't.
If
think
if he went back right now, I think he'd start.
I mean, yeah, right now. But I'm saying he's going to be 35 next year. Let's say 2 years down the road, he's going to be 37, 38 when he gets back to Portland.
I mean, if he's like 38 now. No.
Yeah, that's my point. Like when his contract's done, and if he goes to Portland, then I think what he'd hope for is to be that sixth man off the bench and help that Portland team. Obviously, he would want a championship, but even just get him to the playoffs, make some noise. I think that's what he'd be hopeful for.
Veteran leadership.
Yeah, I think that might be what would happen. In other news, Buddy Hield, he's cooking. Klay Thompson, Klay Thompson left, and they just put in one of the best shooters in the NBA, top 5, right on their team, and he's just balling.
Yeah, Buddy Hield's a guy I would use in 2K. When I was the Kings, him and Fox, and I would cook, but no more.
I mean,
use the Warriors.
Steph, Buddy, they actually have a good team. Warriors are balling. Even without Steph, they're playing very good basketball. He's injured. I think he's out for a week or something. But also, Pistons are losing. They are 0-4, but got to give them credit. No blowouts. They are in it. They're like between 5 and 10 points. The games are very close. They're making it interesting. And I mean, you want to win games if you're the Pistons, but this is definitely a good start going from non-competitive to being a competitive basketball team.
For sure. It's something the city hasn't seen in a while from the basketball aspect.
Yeah, I mean, NBA. I think that's all we got there. We got some interesting games coming up tonight. Lakers, Cavs, Knicks, Heat, Celtics, Pacers. Should be a fun one, honestly, for the rest of the week. And
Real basketball starts next week though. For most people, November 4th, November 5th is the start for a lot. Rutgers starts November 6th. Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper.
That should be fun.
A lot of hype around there.
Yep.
But yeah, so a lot of basketball games coming up next week.
Yeah, the second or third best basketball league is starting. So yeah.
Yeah,
if you tune in, you tune in.
The NBA already started, so
I mean,
we're way past
NBA is
that.
the first, and then you could probably put like G League.
You could probably put like FIBA.
No, you could probably actually, I forgot FIBA. You could probably put NBA, FIBA, G League, the big three basketball league.
Go like FIBA 3-on-3, the big three Olympics, NBA.
No,
you
got NBA top. I think you put college basketball all the way low.
No. I think most people know there's nothing better than college basketball.
There's actually a good amount of things / sports better than college basketball. There's actually a lot of things better than college basketball.
No, I mean, look at the Clippers, right? They implemented that college basketball style where you have the fans only, and I mean. It's all I've heard was positive reviews. I mean, it's just nothing.
Is it actually fans only? Like, how did they determine that though?
I don't know, but I saw obviously that one game when the Suns were there, and like they got KD to miss both of his free throws.
That wall thing, that was a very good.
That's what I'm saying. So you start implementing some college basketball things, and all of a sudden things start. You get atmosphere. You get guys missing free throws that KD would never miss 2 free throws in a row. So
he would. He's done it before.
I mean, he's done it before, but how often does KD miss 2 free throws in a row? And now you get him in the first time with the wall, he missed the both. So I don't know. I think you can obviously see a college atmosphere thing is no joke.
I guess. I mean, listen, if you want to say they're getting it from college, or maybe just Steve Ballmer just has a great mind, you know. But
yeah, I mean, a great mind. Where else would you see it? Just a bunch of fans.
I don't know.
Sitting right behind the basket in a column. I mean. It's called the student section basketball games.
I don't know.
I mean, you could say you don't know, but that's what happens when Monmouth has no basketball team. There are no fans.
Let's not talk about Monmouth sports. Let's
not.
Like that's a whole different conversation.
If you're talking about that basketball, then yeah, you can put the NBA above it. But if you're talking about like the D1, like the Big East, the Big 10, the Big 12, that's real basketball.
And we're done. Next up. Tonight, 8 o'clock, Yankees-Dodgers, another game. Yankees got a big-time win last night. Game 5. Dodgers looking to close it out again.
Yankees got Cole in the bump. So
yeah, going to be a big game from Garrett Cole. Yankees, they want to win this one. They want to stay alive. I mean, they do have some momentum, but going to need a big game from Shohei Ohtani, who was quiet last night.
Yeah, I mean, and it's crazy because if you honestly look at the stats, Ohtani's having just as bad as a World Series, not a postseason, a World Series as Judge, who has been having an atrocious playoff run. But if you look at Aaron Judge and Ohtani's numbers, I mean, they're almost identical, and no one's talking about how bad Ohtani's been in this World Series. But when you have guys like Freddie Freeman picking up the slack and making history,
if they win the World Series, he is a lock for.
Oh yeah,
he's a lock for that MVP.
He's MVP,
man.
For sure.
He's going insane. Did Judge have a hit last night?
He did. He had an RBI single to drive in.
Congratulations, he got a hit.
To drive in.
Good for you guys.
That made the game. Time. That made the game 11-4 New York. So it was nice to see him contribute.
I mean, finally. I mean, if he's considered one of the best players in baseball, you'd hope so.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the regular season. I mean, people put it as, some put it as the greatest of all time. Some guys, most people put it as top 10 all time. You just don't see anything like that. No one hits 60 home runs, 58 home runs, 322 average, 144 RBIs.
I mean, again, don't get me wrong. Aaron Judge is either first or second best player in baseball in the regular season. But again, the problem is if you can't perform in the playoffs, you can't perform in the playoffs.
100%. I mean, this postseason, he's batting a 152. So a 152 and 20 strikeouts is not going to cut it. Not going to cut it in 13 games. Coming into this game, I think his strikeout percentage was like 44%. So, I mean, that's just not going to cut it. That's not going to cut it. 7 hits in 13 games, 46 at-bats. It's just not going to cut it.
I think right now, Shohei Ohtani is batting a 1.33.
Yeah, like I said.
Not good.
I think because of how bad Judge has been doing and because the Dodgers secondary pieces haven't been picking up the slack in the World Series, as in Freddie Freeman and stuff like that.
They're batting the same, by the way.
I think
Aaron Judge
they're,
and Ohtani are batting the same thing.
they're just as bad. I mean, like Otani's batting 1.33, and Judge is batting, I think, a 1.52 now. So I think Judge is actually, after that last game.
Don't give this World Series fraud as MVP. I know who's my MVP.
Well, no.
Give it to Lindor.
No. Lindor's.
No, I don't want to. I don't want to hear it.
Lindor's not even in the running for MVP behind Shohei. Like it's Shohei and Judge. I mean, that's A on NL right there. No question.
We're talking about the NL.
Well, that's what
Well,
I'm saying.
I know. I'm just saying. Yeah,
So,
Shohei.
Shohei, Judge.
I don't think Lindor will be doing this in the playoffs. Just saying.
Well, I mean, he wouldn't, but he's not there.
Well,
He
if he was, he wouldn't be batting like
and
this.
you can't say he wouldn't, because no one thought Shohei would be batting this bad in the World Series, and he is. So you can't say Lindor wouldn't, because nobody thinks Lindor would. No one thought Judge would be batting this bad, and he is. So you really don't know.
No, we don't need the mind games, man.
There's no mind games.
We don't need that.
There's no mind games. Not one person, if you asked if would Shohei be batting a 1.33 in the World Series, they would tell you yeah. It just wouldn't happen.
I mean, it did.
Right. So for you to say Lindor wouldn't, it's like no one thinks it would happen to Lindor.
But Lindor, no.
But
It
you
never
never know.
It wouldn't happen. But, yeah, I mean, in Yankee Stadium tonight, the Yankees hoping to go back to LA.
Yeah, I mean you got to win. You got to win tonight. And you get 2 more in LA. But I mean, Rizzo said it best before that last game. He's like, you have to win this game, and they did. He's like, Game 5, you get Garrett Cole on the bump. That's a favorable matchup for you. Game 6, you have a pretty mad Carlos Rodon who got shelled in Game 2. He comes out with a fire, lights it up. You win. You're in Game 7. Anything happens in Game 7. So I mean, you're in a good spot if you're the Yankees to win tonight with Garrett Cole on the mound. Game 6, I wouldn't say you're in a great spot, but if you get a good outing from Rodon,
I just think...
And it's momentum. I mean, now you have the Yankees. Everybody's firing on all cylinders. Judge finally got an RBI hit. Will that spark him? Soto had a bad game. Will that spark him to come back with a vengeance? Volpe had an amazing game. Austin Wells hit a home run. I mean, it's just a bunch of positives, and it's never too late. There is no time limit with baseball, so there is no time's running out. There is no time. So
I mean, listen, if you're the Dodgers tonight, as a ball club, you need to look at this game as like
a must win.
This is like you gotta end it. You gotta end it. And I'm a Nets fan, so I hope they end it. But if they don't, and it goes to a Game 6, it's, in my opinion, I think it's more of a do or die than Game 7. Because I think if you're up 3-0 and you let the Yankees go back 3-3, obviously in Game 7 it's anyone's ball game. But you just lost a lot of momentum. You will give them all the momentum you had and more.
I mean, here's the bottom line, right? You have the Dodgers, who are, I mean, you could say the best team in the league. I mean, it's either
that, they're probably.
I mean,
the
you
best
have
team in the league
Ohtani,
right now.
Betts, Freeman, and just Tommy Edman batting last, who's been the best player in the postseason.
It's crazy.
And a bunch of pitching. So
Yeah.
I mean, let's just say how it is. The best team in the league, and for you to lose, right? I think Game 6, really, really on paper, is your only winnable game left. I think this game is winnable for sure. I'm not saying they're going to lose tonight, but I think with Garrett Cole on the bump, it's not favorable for you to win. And if you lose tonight, Game 6, I think, is a favorable matchup. I mean, Rodon is mad, but it is Rodon, and you get one of your guys, stars on the bump. So I mean, that's a favorable matchup for you. And then Game 7, I mean, you may have a better pitcher on the mound, but it's not going to be favorable losing 3 straight in a Game 7. So I think really, really their only favorable matchup is Game 6. So,
oh yeah, I mean, definitely Game 6. I think tonight also, even if they have Garrett Cole pitching, I think you still need a big outing from Betts and Ohtani.
For
and
sure.
I mean, and again, the rest of your team. I mean, Garrett Cole's obviously amazing, but still, I mean, you can't have. We're in the World Series. You can't have back-to-back bad games from your stars.
No, you can't, because when you do, you go down 3-0. But just as quickly as you go down 3-0, you could be tied 3-3. So
that's what I'm saying. This is a this is definitely going to be a big game. I think next game, if it even goes to a next game, it's going to be even a bigger one. But yeah, if you're the Dodgers coming into tonight, you're thinking this is everything right here.
This is
I mean, if you're having a 3-2 series, it's not looking good. So Dodgers gonna want to close it out, and this is gonna be a big game for them. Stars got to show up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
big game.
Yeah,
Big
big time game. Should be fun. Should be exciting to see. Brian, you got anything else?
No. I mean, we'll end it with that. Game time in about 4 hours.
4 hours till game time. You got Knicks on at 7:30. You got Yankees on 8:00. Gonna be watching the Knicks. We'll keep an eye on the Yankee game.
If you're in New York, you don't care about the Knicks tonight.
No. If you're in New York, you're a Mets fan. Like, come on.
No.
If you're in New York, you're a Mets fan. So I know all the Mets fans will be paying attention to the Knicks games.
All the Mets fans are going to be tuned into this game, the Yankees game tonight.
Actually, yeah, they might be hate watching.
No one
I'm not
cares
gonna lie,
about the Knicks tonight.
they might be hate watching. So yeah, listen, I mean, either one, it's going to be very interesting. Big game for the Knicks, big game for the Dodgers, and Yankees, obviously. But yeah, listen, I think that will do it. Another episode of the Primetime Sports Podcast. I hope everybody enjoyed, and we will see you next week when should have more information on the trade deadline. That should be wrapped up, and World Series will be done, and MLB free agency will get started. So, yeah, next week's going to be really interesting. Everyone, thank you again. Enjoy the rest of your week.